A brief bounce in the polls on his approval rating yesterday, according to an AP poll, which showed he had a 53% approval rating. However, today, a Pew Research Center poll shows only 46% of Americans approve of the job he's doing, which is a 2-point drop from a similar Pew poll last June. So what's the truth here about how Americans are feeling, and why isn't the president seeing a bigger jump in the wake of some significant legislative achievements as of late? Neil Bortz is a radio talk show host and an attorney, and Mark Sawyer is a UCLA political science professor. Gentlemen, thank you so much for being here. So it's like, typical with these polls on approval ratings. One tells you one thing, one tells you another thing. The AP puts his approval rating at 53%, which would definitely be a jump, Neil. But now today, Pew comes out with a poll saying actually only 46% of Americans approve, which is a 2-point drop from last June. What do you make of it?
Well, I don't know if the Pew poll was taken before the memorial service on Wednesday night or not, but
it was taken.
Conducted largely before the shooting spree. That's what they said. It said it was conducted at 1,500 adults largely before the shooting spree.
Right. You will see a jump. You'll see a jump in the Pew poll as well. It's like George H.W. Bush after the liberation of Kuwait, George H. Bush after the 9/11. And the polls go way up there. In a time of tragedy, people want to rally behind their president. George H.W. Bush, with a 91% rating, couldn't get reelected. And we know what happened to George W. Bush's approval ratings. So it will spike, and it's going to be momentary, because Barack Obama still has basically the same big government, high spending agenda. He's still determined to raise taxes on the high achievers. The things that brought him a low approval rating are still there, and he'll be back down to earth in a while.
Mark, I don't know, because if the Pew poll, if the Pew poll showing him down was taken largely before the shooting, then the people aren't trying to say how they feel about his handling of that tragedy. They were just rating him before. But separate and apart from all that, Mark, what do you see in terms of trajectory for Barack Obama's approval rating, up or down, given his attempt to reach out to independents, his attempt to be a little bit more moderate, his refusal to obey what some on the left were pushing him to do, which is to crack down on the right and make this political, when he spoke in Tucson the other night?
Yeah, I think his numbers are going to go up, and particularly the one big thing that are weighing on his numbers isn't all the things that Neil said, but is the jobs numbers. And as the jobs numbers tick up, and they've been looking good consistently, if they stay consistent, and there's a lag in that.
But they have not been looking good consistently, Mark. They've been looking good.
Well, no,
late this last round they went down, but to say the job market's been looking good consistently, you're going to get some mail.
No. I said if they start looking good consistently moving forward, his numbers will keep building and going up and up and up. It's not, the Americans don't have a sort of ideological opposition. That's just a sort of talk radio, talk news, whipping things up. People want to see jobs, and both sides need to do that. The Republican numbers look terrible too, and that's a result of the jobs numbers.
That's interesting. Do you think that's true, Neil, that there is no ideological opposition among the American voters, that it's all based on the jobs?
Well, I tell you what, I think a lot of what Mark said about jobs is right, and I hereby acknowledge his little dig at talk radio. That's probably required of the professorial class, and I will refrain from talking about college professors, but Obamacare repeal is going to come up. He will fight that. That's not going to help his approval ratings. I'm looking for some moves from Barack Obama soon to try to further entrench unions in the private sector in this country. That's not going to help his approval ratings. Of course, a lot of this depends on which road he takes in the future. Whether he can become a bipartisan president, or whether he's going to continue, hey, look, I'm the president, you guys have a momentary victory in the House, and I'm proceeding with my agenda. We'll have to see which way he goes.
What about that, Mark? Does he need to compromise? The Republicans are taking up this health care repeal bill. Ed Rendell was just on here moments ago saying he doesn't see that as the way to go, but he does think that if they came up with a list of, say, 5 things they'd like to improve about that bill, they might get someplace with Democrats and perhaps even with the president. Should the president be bending on something as signature as the health care legislation in order to bump up his numbers, reach out to the middle, and maybe improve his chances for re-election?
I mean, there are some things that can be fixed, including the tax reporting provisions that for small business that'll be useful. But the fact is that it's Mitt Romney's health care bill. He already included a lot of things that Republicans, if they would have been responsible, would have wanted. And Republicans with this repeal are going to have to say to people that have pre-existing conditions and seniors who can buy drugs at cheaper prices, that they want those prices to go up, or people that have pre-existing conditions.
I'm not trying to make this, I don't want to relitigate the health care. I don't want to relitigate the health care, Mark. I'm just asking you whether President Obama should reach out more to the middle on an issue like that or other issues.
He's been reaching out to the middle. He will keep reaching out to the middle. It's whether there's a middle to be found other than within the Democratic Party for him to reach out to.
Okay. I got to go.
Megan?
Quickly, Neil.
Well, he's been reaching out to the middle, and I've been growing hair.
Okay, and so we know what Neil and Mark think of that. Gentlemen, thank you both.